So now there's a Trump-supporting pastor who was also on his school board, and he has now resigned after he raged about racial mixing and, quote, white genocide, which, as we know, doesn't fucking exist. But Raw Story says, a school member in Harrison, Maine has resigned from his post after the revelation of social media posts criticizing minorities and Muslims. The Bangor Daily News reported Monday that Robert Bob Celeste, a member of the RSU 17 school board in Western Maine, claims his resignation, quote, had nothing to do with the fools that say that's racist. They can't even define racist, the board member who once posted a meme that depicted a white mother warning her daughter not to, quote, betray her race. After the Islamic State took credit for a terrorist attack in Paris, France, in 2015, Celeste shared a post that appeared to threaten Muslims. Quote, to all Muslims, the USA has the highest concentration of armed Christians in the world, just in case you forget. So this goes beyond, even, if he was just criticizing, the doctrine of Islam or even radical terrorists, I'd be like, that's pretty fucking common sense to me, right? But saying to all Muslims, the USA is the highest concentration of armed Christians in the world, just in case you forget, that's pretty much a threat. Literally a threat of violence. And again, it's not just towards, radical Muslims, it's just towards all Muslims, all of them. It says, when speaking to the Daily News about his resignation, the erstwhile school board member said that, quote, born-again Christians should not be putting their kids in a public school, and that students in Maine schools are taught lies, including, quote, that racism is anyone that disagrees with Islam. And then he goes on to talk about a bunch of, he said a bunch of other shit, but, I've talked about so many of these cases where there's these fucking people who claim that, up and down that they're not racist, you guys are fools. You guys remember the guy who was trying to get back the Confederate statue in front of the courthouse? I believe it was in South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. And, he was trying to, make an example or a point that he was trying to make about Martin Luther King, and he calls him Martin Luther Coon. It's just, you guys are fucking, you're lying. We know that you're racist pricks. And again, if this dude was just, saying, fucking, look at all this shit in the doctrine of Islam in the Quran, it says that, a woman's testimony is worth half of that of a man. A husband can beat their wife if they don't submit. So it's like, if you were to say, like, I agree with you, man, like, that's cool. But when you're threatening violence, saying that, hey, to all Muslims, they're the most armed Christians in the world, don't forget that. It's like this kind of fucking threat. Like, you're being a jackass. And of course, surprise, surprise, the dude's a Trump supporter.